A year ago today, the death of a young man in Tottenham sparked riots across the country on a scale not seen before. 12 months on, our senior news correspondent Michelle Clifford has been to find out how those who were directly involved are still putting their lives back together.
Potent images which would be replicated across the nation as the violence and looting spread. The riots lasted but a few days, but have had long-term consequences, and not just for those who watched as their homes and businesses were violated.
Everything was smashed in, the blockbusters were smashed in, Argos was smashed in, there were shops all up this strip was smashed in. And
Rhys Davies-James had never been in trouble before the night last August, when, during what he calls a moment of madness, he got caught up in looting in this London street. He followed the crowd into Argos. He picked up a box and ran straight into the arms of the police. That mistake landed him in jail for months.
Of course I regret it. At the same time, like I said, everything happens for a reason. I don't regret the outcome because a lot of good things have happened at the same time. Like I said, I've come out of prison. I'm more motivated, one, because the way I see it is I've hit the bottom now. The only way is up.
The dancer, who only months before made it to the finals of Britain's Got Talent, still questions whether jailing first-time offenders was necessary. But he learned his lesson, and many victims say that shows the tough punishment worked. Stephen Moore only wishes that those who set fire to his jeweller's shop in Tottenham had been brought before the courts. When we last caught up with him, the bulldozers had razed the charred remains of his store. He has fought all year for the rioters to be forced to confront the victims, to see the damage they have done, not just physically, but psychologically.
Emotionally, I think I'm burying it, but it's bubbling underneath. You know, I could still smile, but it's still there underneath. Wake up in the morning, and it's there. Go to bed at night, it's still there. And having to let go staff, my daughter's even having to get another job elsewhere. And I'm not looking after what I used to, so it hurts. It does hurt.
Here in Tottenham, they've been working hard to restore confidence in their damaged community and to improve relations with the police, relations which were already strained before the shooting of local man Mark Duggan triggered the riots, and which were damaged further by what the police acknowledged was a failure to bring the violence under control more quickly.
We've improved our ability to monitor things like social media so we can spot tension developing more quickly. Secondly, we've improved our ability to mobilise more officers more quickly, so we've trained more, so we've got another 1,750 officers trained in London in terms of public disorder, and we can mobilise them more quickly, and we've tested that and proven we can do it.
No one could have predicted the events of last summer, how quickly the violence would spread, just how many would find rioting and looting irresistible. But those days in August have provided important lessons for Britain's politicians, the police and members of the public, regardless of which side of the law they were on. Michelle Clifford, Sky News, Tottenham.
Let's go live to Tottenham now, and the local MP David Lammy joins us. Good morning to you. A year on, have the lessons been learnt? How is Tottenham different today?
Well, I think the community has come together. It's a resilient place, Tottenham, and you've heard that young people particularly want to send the message that the vast majority of them weren't caught up in the riots. This is their home, this is where they live, this is where they want to make their lives. But of course it's been very hard for the businesses, very hard for the family of Mark Duggan, and unemployment is gone up in Tottenham, it's not gone down. So this is all against a very, very difficult backdrop.
I mean, you wrote a book following the riots called Out of the Ashes, where you sort of speculated about the reasons. What do you now think are the reasons for the riots occurring? Many people have had suggestions.
Well, there should have been a judicial inquiry into the riots so that we could all be on the same page, but the reasons are numerous and many. There were opportunists, there were criminals. Initially, there were people concerned with justice and finding out what had happened in this community to Mark Duggan. But as the riots spread all over the country, you've also heard from the police that the policing wasn't as good as it needed to be. So many, many reasons coming together, and that's why I think that people are worried that we could see this happen again.
We've heard reports yesterday, a survey saying that 1 in 4 young people suggest that the riots could occur again. I mean, you must find that extremely depressing.
Well, look, my sense here in Tottenham is that far too many people were upset and angry at what had happened here in Tottenham, frankly. And the vast majority of people, 26,000 young people, stayed at home. So I don't think actually here in Tottenham we are going to see those kind of disturbances. But of course, the underlying issues in our society, issues of personal responsibility, a culture of entitlement, my right to this, my right to that, whether it's young people, bankers or MPs, that remains. And there are vast issues of inequality that mean we've got high unemployment and many people in London and other cities unable to make a living wage. These are very serious issues that are coming in a double-dip recession, and we need to take them very seriously.
But it isn't just about unemployment, it's about the lack of role models, as we've been hearing this morning, what young boys in particular have to look up to, who they have to look up to, isn't it?
Well, you know, I've said a lot about this. I'm worried that at the moment our schools, particularly our primary schools, many you can't find a male teacher. The role of fathers in society seems to me to be problematic. Many young people in this community growing up without a father. And I'm not now, you know, giving a hard time to single mothers, because of course marriages do break up, but I'm talking about fathers who never engaged in the first place and think it's the responsibility of the state to raise their children. We've got to get serious about this, and some of the decisions that have been made over the last year haven't helped. I don't think you should be charging women, for example, to use the support agency that chases down those fathers. And I also think, frankly, that we really ought to get to a point where 2 names go down on a birth certificate as of right, and the government are dithering over that. So there are underlying reasons, but in this community, role modelling, people are coming together to mentor. We've seen what the schools are doing, and it's right to say that both community and businesses are pulling together with the regeneration money to turn around Tottenham.
David Lammy, Rebuilding the Future there. Thank you very much for your thoughts this morning. Let's cross to the Olympic Park now, and Charlie.